Parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines. Two lines in the same plane that never cross, never intersect. The thing that you need to remember about parallel lines for what we're dealing with in here today, the slopes are the same. If two lines are parallel, then the slopes are the same. Perpendicular lines. Two lines that intersect at right angles. They cross at right angles. They cross at 90 degrees. The important thing that you will have to remember here today is the slopes are not the same. The slopes are opposite reciprocals. Not every pair of lines are parallel or perpendicular. They could be neither. In fact, most lines are neither parallel nor perpendicular. They cross each other, but they do not cross at 90 degrees. Okay. If I have two lines that are perpendicular, their slopes are opposite reciprocals. And that's the key to remember. Now, what does it mean by opposite reciprocals? Flip the fraction and switch the sign. Opposite reciprocals. Reciprocal, you flip it over. Opposite means that if one's negative, the other one's positive. So we're going to be doing a lot of work today with mx y equals mx plus b. Okay. So remember, when we're talking about slope, what are we talking about? We're talking about m. Okay. So first set of questions we have is find the opposite reciprocal of every number. So the opposite reciprocal of 3/5 is negative 5/3. Opposite reciprocals. Flip it over, change the sign. Okay. Opposite reciprocal of 2/3. Well, this one's already negative, so the opposite's going to be positive. Flip it over, it's 3/2. Opposite reciprocal of -4. You want to make it a fraction to be able to find the reciprocal. Flip it over, change the sign to get 1/4. What about the next one? What's the opposite reciprocal of -1? 1, positive 1. Change the sign and flip it over, you get 1. Shouldn't be too hard, right? So the next one, what's it? What's the opposite reciprocal of -1/8? And it would be positive, so make it 8. Okay. Opposite reciprocal of Gavin. Opposite reciprocal of 7/2 would be what? -2/7. Same thing for 1/3, we would get -3/1, which is -3. And for 12, we would have -1/12. Okay. In order to find perpendicular lines, that's what you need to be able to do. Find the slope of the line, slope of one perpendicular. This is it. So this is the slope of my first line. This is the slope of a line perpendicular to it. Slope of my first line, slope of a perpendicular line. These two lines are perpendicular. Those were the slopes. Okay. Problem number 1. Writing the equation of a parallel line. We have a line passes through the point 12, 5, and is parallel to the graph of y equals 2/3 x minus 1. So we have an xy coordinate, x1, y1. That's our x and y coordinate. And if we have a point, we need a slope. The line I'm looking for is parallel, which means the slope of my new line is the same as my slope of my original line. Parallel lines have the same slope. If two lines are parallel, their slopes are the same. I want one that's parallel to that. The slope of my new line is the same as the slope of my original line. So I have my slope, I have my point, plug it in. Y minus my y coordinate, 5, equals my slope, 2/3, times x minus my x coordinate, 12. Now it says that it wants me to do it in slope-intercept form, so I need to rearrange this. First step, distribute the 2/3. Y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 x. 2/3 times negative 12 is negative 8. And if you're doing this on your own work, just use your calculator if you need to. And then I need y by itself, so I add 5 to both sides. Y equals 2/3 x minus 3. Taylor, bring your pass up. Okay, any questions on this?
You guys shouldn't be going out during notes.
No. Okay, the instructions on this one are not there. It says classifying lines. What it wants you to do and what it will ask you to do on your classwork is it will say, are these lines parallel or perpendicular or neither? That's what it wants to say. That's what they'll ask you. Are they parallel, are they perpendicular, or are they neither? What you have to do is find the slope of each line and then compare them. So the second line here, I have my slope. Because it's in mx plus b form, my slope is 4/5 on this one. I have the slope there. First one, though, I need to rearrange it. I can't. This is not in slope-intercept form. I need to have y by itself. I don't have y by itself. So I need to get y by itself before I can compare the slopes. Easy enough on this one. I need to get rid of the 4. Divide by 4 and divide everything by 4. Gives me y equals negative 5/4 x plus 3. What's the slope of this line? Negative 5/4. So now I need to compare these two slopes. Are they the same? No, they're not the same, so it's not parallel. Are they opposite reciprocals? Yeah, they're opposite signs. Flip one over to get the other one. Yes, that means because they're opposite reciprocals. This means that they are perpendicular. Perpendicular. Upside down T, perpendicular. We don't like to write long words. We come up with symbols instead. That's the symbol for perpendicular. Yeah, two perpendicular lines. For parallel, it would be two little parallel lines. Okay. Last one. It says writing the equation of a perpendicular line. Now this is multiple choice. However, in order to be able to do it, you don't want to just do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You want to actually figure out the correct answer. So, this is very similar. We have a line passing through an XY coordinate. This is X1, Y1, that is perpendicular to this line. So the slope of this one is 1/3. It's the one I want is perpendicular, which means the slope of my new line would be the opposite reciprocal of 1/3. What's the opposite reciprocal of 1/3? -3. I have a slope, I have a point. Plug in my slope and point and figure it out. So my y coordinate is 4. My slope is -3. My x coordinate is 2. Now, this doesn't look like any one of these, so I need to rearrange. We've been doing an awful lot of that. First step, distribute the -3. Y minus 4 equals -3x plus 6. I need to get the y by itself, so I add 4. Y equals -3x plus 10, which is D. The keys to parallel and perpendicular lines are the slopes. Parallel lines have the same slope, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals. Question? Okay.
We have